When you think about a child is free. Free to smile, free to laugh, free to cry, free to love, free to play, free to be, right? Now, as this child begins to grow older, the child begins to develop a new self, a self that is no longer free, a self that is filled with hatred, anger, anxiety, fears, depression, self-loathing. The child develops a new self or a new ego. And because the child develops this new self, the child begins to identify with this self. And the child has completely dropped its true essence and its true nature. And see, the child that I just mentioned, right? This child has become almost every single one of us. Almost every single one of us, we've allowed ourselves, right? And I'm using the term allow in the sense that it was actually chosen by us, right? We've allowed ourselves to identify with this self. And we spend the rest of our lives identifying with it and living by it, to the point in which we've forgotten our true essence, our true nature that is free. See, there's this quote by this guy that I love, right? And I can't remember who exactly said it. If any of y'all know, y'all could leave it in the comments. But the guy says, when we were born, we were given a name, a religion, a nationality, and a race. And we spend the rest of our lives identifying with it and defending it. And if you really think about it, right? Most of the ways in which we feel about ourselves and ways in which we view the world, these ideologies or beliefs were given to us by our parents, given to us by our religion, given to us by our school system, given to us by our community. These things were implanted into us. So this idea that we have of ourselves, we were basically indoctrinated. We were programmed, right? These things were placed in our minds. And I believe that a big reason or a major reason why so much people in this world are depressed and are anxious and living in fear is because we've allowed this idea that was placed into us to become us, right? To become who we truly are. But if you really peel back the layers, right, and you drop this sense of self and this ego, you realize that who you thought you were for most of your life isn't truly who you are. It's not. It's an identity that you've picked up. It's an identity that you've identified with. And this is what I mean when I say you have to lose yourself to find yourself. You have to lose yourself or this ego or this idea of who you are to get in touch with your true essence and your true nature. Because here's the thing. If you continue to go most of your life identifying with these beliefs and with this self that was given to you, you will never truly find that sense of freedom that you had as a child. Because these things are barriers to your freedom. The only thing holding us back from being free, being happy, being fulfilled is this idea that we have of ourselves, this idea that we've identified with, right? And most people, a large majority of people, right, die. They go to their graves without getting in touch with the true essence of who they truly are. They die without finding that freedom that they once had, right? And so getting in touch with the true essence of who we are can be done in two major steps, right? The first step is awareness. Awareness that this self that you've identified with isn't who you truly are. There's this quote by Anthony DeMello that I love, and he says, "What you are aware of, you are in control of. And what you are not aware of is in control of you." And I keep this quote in the back of my mind throughout the day, right? To remind myself to always be aware, right? Always be aware of even the smallest things. Because here's the thing. When you are not aware of the fact that this self or this ego that you identify with isn't who you truly are, then you allow yourself to become a victim to it. You basically allow it to control your life. And most of us, right? A large majority of us, we've allowed ourselves to be controlled, or we've allowed our lives to be controlled by this ego, right? This ego that we've picked up, this ego that was programmed into us. And if you're not aware of it, right? If you cannot make the unconscious conscious, then it will always control your life. And you never truly get to a point in which you find freedom and you are able to live the life that you truly want to live. You're able to live your soul's desire, right? You can never truly get in touch with your higher self until you become aware of the things that are holding you back, right? The second step is to stop identifying with it. See, here's the thing. You can be aware of it, right? You can know that this idea of yourself or your ego is not who you truly are. But to stop identifying with it is a different thing, right? To say this self that I thought was me isn't who I truly am, and I'm gonna make the conscious decision to drop it, is a completely different thing. Because here's the thing, we've gotten so used to our sense of self and this ego, in the sense that when our beliefs and our ideas which go against the ego are threatened, we sort of develop this defense mechanism, right? In the sense that we begin to project, or we begin to regress or go through repression. All these different things are barriers which keep the ego in check. So for you to stop identifying with this sense of self, you have to drop your ego. In one of my earlier videos a few weeks ago, I talked about introspection. And I said that introspection can be painful, right? But it is very important. And in the same way, dropping your ego can be a very painful thing. It can feel like an attack on yourself. But truly, it's not an attack on yourself. It's an attack of your false sense of self. The false sense of self, like I said, that we've identified with. So when you begin to bring this ego or your sense of self into awareness, once you make the unconscious conscious, and then you make the decision to stop identifying with it, that's when you truly get in touch with the essence of who you truly are. And here's the thing, it's gonna be painful, right? It's gonna feel like you are attacking yourself. It's gonna feel as if someone or your own self is holding up a mirror to yourself, and you have to look at that mirror and see all the flaws and all the things that you've identified with. But like I said, all of that is for the greater good. Because the more you allow yourself to identify with it, the more you lose yourself. The more you lose the essence of who you truly are. And when I say you lose your essence, what I mean is that you create more of a barrier with your true essence. Because here's the thing, you cannot lose your true nature, right? The only thing you can do is cover it up. I heard Eckhart Tolle use this example where he says that just because the sun is covered by dark clouds, right? And just because you don't see the sun and it's dark, doesn't mean the sun is there. It's just covered up. And in the same way, just because you're not getting in touch with your true essence, in your true being and your true nature, doesn't mean it's there. It just means that you're covering up with all these ideas, all these beliefs, all these negative thinking and this ego and the sense of self that you have. But to get in touch with your true essence, you have to remove all of that. You have to become aware of it, and you have to stop identifying with it. Right? So I say all this to say, you have to lose yourself to find yourself. You have to lose the idea of who you think you are to get in touch with who you truly are. Because most of us, almost every single one of us, we are living our lives based on ideologies and beliefs that were given to us. And the more we spend our lives identifying with this ideology or this belief, the further away, right? The further away we push ourselves from freedom and from fulfillment. And so you have to peel back those layers. You have to peel back those layers and get in touch with who you truly are. Right? If you want peace, if you want happiness, if you want joy, if you want fulfillment, those things are found in your higher self, in your true nature, in your true being. Right? But you have to lose yourself. You have to die to your ego. That's the only way in which you truly discover or rediscover those things. Alright? So I thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys for even tapping on this video. I really appreciate it. And I hope you take the time to go within yourself and to find yourself. Find the essence of who you truly are. Because that's the only way in which you're going to find your soul's desire in this life. Peace and blessings.